Why the number is never enough. The physiological and neuroscience of weight goals. I want to start with something personal. Before any science, I want you to know I've lived everything I'm about to explain. First, I had a number. I don't need to tell you what it was. You have one too, and you already know the exact digits don't matter. What matters is what that number meant. It meant when I get there, I will finally be okay. When I get there, I will deserve good things. When I get there, I will stop holding my breath. Every morning the scale showed anything else was a morning I had already failed. Before breakfast, before coffee, before I'd spoken to a single human being. My mood, my food choices, my sense of permission to exist comfortably in my own life. All of it determined by a number nobody else could even see. Between November 2016 and November 2018, 170 pounds came off my body. And I want to tell you something nobody in the weight loss world talks about. I never reached that number, not once. For a long time, I thought that was a failure. Now I understand it was a physiological fact, and the science behind it changed how I see these things. The number that was never reachable. Before we get into the brain science, there is a physiological layer that comes first, one that most people who have lost significant weight are carrying without a name for it. Skin is the largest organ in the human body. It accounts for approximately 15 to 18% of total body weight. And it's not passive tissue. It's alive, metabolically active, and it has a memory. When skin is stretched over years by carrying significant weight, it loses the elasticity that would allow it to fully contract when that weight is released. It remains, it hangs, and it registers on a scale. The clinical literature on massive weight loss, defined as releasing 100 pounds or more, is clear. Excess skin after significant weight loss can account for 40 to 60 pounds of body weight, not fat, not a reflection of eating choices, skin, organ, physics. The math nobody does for you. Here's a way to think about what this means for someone who has carried and released a large amount of weight. Highest weight minus ideal weight equals pounds carried over time. Take those pounds carried times 0.16 to 0.18, which is the approximate excess skin weight. Ideal weight plus excess skin equals your actual physiological floor. In my case, I released 170 pounds. The number that had lived in my head for decades was never reachable, not because I failed to get there, but because the body that carried that much weight for that many years has skin the scale will always count and no goal weight chart will ever account for. The floor was always higher than the number. The number was always a fiction. This is not a consolation prize. This is anatomy. The goal weight you were given or assigned yourself was built for a body that had never carried what yours carried. It did not account for your history. It did not account for your skin. It was a number on a chart generated for an average body that is not yours. The number was never reachable, not as a failure, as a physiological fact. When the machines can't read you, here's where it gets even more interesting and more validating. If the scale can't tell you the truth, you might think the answer is a more sophisticated tool. A DEXA scan is widely marketed as the gold standard for body composition measurement. It differentiates bone, lean tissue, and fat with a precision a bathroom scale will never have. It's the tool that's supposed to give you the real picture. Except I called the manufacturer and they told me directly how their machines handle excess skin. They can't read it. The X-ray beams don't know what to do with tissue that has lost its normal density and structure after years of being stretched beyond its original capacity. So the software makes a guess. It splits the excess skin approximately half lean mass, half fat mass, and files it under both categories. Which means if you have 30, 40, or 50 pounds of excess skin, a meaningful portion of that tissue is being counted as fat on your DEXA report. Your body fat percentage is wrong. Your lean mass reading is wrong. The number the machine gives you as your current body fat percentage is built on a misclassification the machine itself cannot correct for. What the published research confirms. DEXA estimates of fat mass are influenced by trunk thickness, with error increasing as trunk thickness increases. In studies of people who undergo significant changes in body composition, DEXA measures can be biased and display systematic differences. For post-bariatric patients specifically, DEXA captured the direction of change but underestimated the magnitude compared to MRI. In other words, the machine knows something is off, but just can't tell you what. Because I couldn't trust the percentages, I tracked 100 DEXA scans across a group of women who each went multiple times to watch their changes over time. We used the scans the way they're actually reliable for post-massive weight loss bodies, not to know where we stood, but to see which direction we were moving. Direction we could trust. The number on the report we could not. And then there's TSA. I get pulled aside at airport security every single time. The millimeter wave scanner flags large yellow circles on the image, areas the machine marks as anomalous, unidentifiable, potentially suspicious. Security has to physically check what the scanner couldn't read. That's excess skin. Two completely different scanning technologies, one medical, one security, built for completely different purposes, both arriving at the same conclusion. This tissue doesn't match what we were calibrated to read. It doesn't fit the expected map of a human body. That's not a personal failing. That's corroboration from an unexpected direction. The bottom line, for bodies that have carried and released significant weight, we currently have no reliable scientific instrument that can tell you when you've lost enough or what your actual body fat percentage is. The machines weren't calibrated for you. The goal weight charts weren't built for you. And the number in your head was generated by a system that never accounted for your body's actual history. The question, when is enough enough, doesn't have a scale answer. It has a nervous system answer, and that's what this work is actually about. A note on GLP-1 medications. Everything described in this section applies directly to people losing significant weight through GLP-1 receptor medications, semaglutide, tirzepatide, and their cousins. These drugs produce real, meaningful weight loss. They also produce excess skin, and they do it faster than traditional weight loss approaches, which means the skin has even less time to adapt. The clinical research is already documenting this. Plastic surgeons are seeing a surge in body contouring requests from GLP-1 users, and the same DEXA misclassification problem applies. Excess skin gets split, half lean, half fat. The body fat percentage reading is compromised, and the machine has no mechanism to correct for it. There is an additional wrinkle specific to GLP-1 use. These medications can also affect muscle mass, collagen, and tissue composition in ways that further complicate body composition readings, which means the data problem for GLP-1 users may actually be more complex than for those who lose weight through food and lifestyle changes alone. The millions of people now losing significant weight through GLP-1 medications are entering the same territory. Bodies with excess skin that scales undercount, that DEXA machines misclassify, and that no goal weight chart was built for. Most of them don't know this yet. This deserves a much longer conversation. If you want to go deeper on GLP-1's excess skin and what the measurements are and aren't actually telling you, that conversation is coming. I stopped getting on the scale in 2022, not because I was afraid of it, because I finally understood that the number it showed me was never going to be the number in my head, and the number in my head was always going to produce a kind of noise that wasn't worth living with. The scale couldn't tell me anything true, so I put it down. And then the brain science helped me understand why the number had such a hold in the first place, which is what comes next. The 4 brain mechanisms. Even if the number had been physiologically reachable, there are 4 distinct neurological reasons why arrival would still have disappointed. These run in parallel, each amplifying the others. Number 1, dopamine runs on wanting, not having. Neuroscientist Kent Berridge at the University of Michigan spent years separating two things most of us collapse together: wanting, the drive to pursue; the craving, the pull toward the goal, energizing, run by dopamine; liking, the actual pleasure of having, the enjoyment of what you got, run by the brain's opioid systems, not dopamine. Dopamine governs wanting, not satisfaction. The system is designed to keep you pursuing, not to let you rest. When you set a goal weight, dopamine activates around that target, making the pursuit feel important and energizing. But when you arrive, dopamine has no mechanism for enough. The moment you close the gap, the system starts looking for a new one. The feeling you were chasing was always in the wanting, not the having. This is not a failure of gratitude. It's dopamine doing exactly what dopamine does. Number 2, reward prediction error. Why the goalpost moves. Your brain is a prediction machine. Every time you imagine reaching your number, your brain releases a small dopamine hit in anticipation. When you actually arrive, it runs a comparison: predicted experience versus actual. Almost always, the actual falls short, not because anything went wrong, but because the prediction was built on imagination. Imagination doesn't include the same Tuesday morning feelings you've always had. When the actual reward is less than the predicted reward, your brain registers a reward prediction error. It's automatic response. Move the goalpost, set a new number, reactivate wanting. This is not weakness. It's your dopamine system doing its job with perfect efficiency. The error wasn't in your brain. It was in what your brain was taught to predict. Decades of messaging that weight equals worth, weight equals safety, weight equals arrival. Number 3, hedonic adaptation, the baseline shifts. When you experience something repeatedly, including weighing a certain amount, your nervous system recalibrates that as the new normal. The number that was going to change everything? 2 weeks after you reach it, your brain has updated its baseline. The extraordinary has become ordinary, not because you failed to appreciate it, because your nervous system did exactly what nervous systems do. And so the mind scans forward again to the next number, the next version of enough. The goalpost moves not because you're broken, but because your brain successfully updated its baseline. Number 4, the identity beneath the number. The number was never really about weight. Underneath, it was a much deeper question the number was supposed to answer. Am I okay? Am I safe? Will I be accepted? Do I deserve good things? A scale cannot answer any of those questions. James Cone's research on social baseline theory shows that the nervous system's deepest need is connection, the experience of being seen, safe, and accompanied. That is a nervous system state. It is regulated through relationship, not through a number on a scale. The number was the thing your nervous system could point to you while it waited for someone to see it. Facilitation, the reflection. Let's look at some questions. Number 1, what was your number supposed to mean? Not the number itself. What was supposed to happen when you got there? Number 2, has the goalpost ever moved for you? You reached a number and immediately thought a little lower? What do you notice about that now? Number 3, what question was your number trying to answer that a scale doesn't have the capacity to answer? The reframe. The goal of this conversation isn't to talk anyone out of wanting to feel well in their body. It's to show that the number was carrying weight it was never designed to carry, physiologically and neurologically. What you were actually looking for has a path. It just doesn't run through a scale. That path runs through your nervous system, through accompaniment, through the slow work of building evidence that you are already okay. Not because of what you weigh, but because you're here doing this work, learning what was never broken in the first place.